Cherboni. I'm the Transportation Compliance and Safety Officer for Lakewood Board of Ed. Basically, what we're going to do today is discuss any safety communications and transportation issues.
How many students are we busing a day in Lakewood?
Our public schools are doing 6,000, and our non-publics are a little over 40,000 every day.
What is your role at Lakewood Board of Ed?
So I do safety and compliance. Basically, what that means is we want the bus drivers to be safe, so we're looking to make sure that the practices at the schools are safe, on the road are safe, as well as at bus stops, making sure that they're being picked up the way that they're supposed to or dropped off the way they're supposed to.
After about a year and a half on the job now, what's your general impression of the situation?
I think that we have a really good team between the Board of Ed, the LSTA, and the vendors, and I think that we could really put this together to make sure that we're setting everyone up for success.
What are the three most common safety compliance issues you have seen since you were hired last spring, and how have you been working to improve the situation?
I think that one of the biggest that I've seen, and is probably the least talked about, is a non-crossable street. How many roads in Lakewood that people don't realize the bus drivers aren't supposed to drop a child and the child walks across the street from the side of the bus.
What are the safety protocols in place regarding driver background checks that people may not know about?
It's heavily vetted. The bus company does everything on their end, a lot of their background checks, and all that is sent to us, and we look it over before we allow a driver to work. So you can't have a bus company hire somebody day one and say, hey, this driver's going to work for us, and take a public school or a non-public school route. It has to be all sent in and approved by the Board of Ed before they can do that.
What are some of the guidelines that you want the parent body to know you are enforcing with the bus companies?
Yes, we're looking to know that the bus drivers are dropping children where they're supposed to be, that they're on time. We want to make sure that the routes are getting completed as they're supposed to be done, that once children are dropped off, that bus drivers are checking to make sure that all of their kids have been unloaded. And that's going to take care of most of the issues that we see day to day.
What happens if you note a bus driver is in violation of safety guidelines?
So what we do is we don't go out to a driver and have an issue with them. We come back, we speak between the transportation managers as well as the LSTA, and we have a conversation, we record the infraction, and we make sure that we speak to the dispatchers in the company to prevent it going forward.
Where can parents find the full list of guidelines that school drivers are supposed to adhere to at all times?
So between the New Jersey's transportation's website, we also have our bids. Our bids pretty much outline exactly what the companies are supposed to do day in and day out, and what they can and can't do.
Okay, so if a parent calls in and they've got a problem, now they got to call in, what information do you need from them for a safety query?
As much as they can give us. Bus number, where the stop was, what time did it happen. All the buses are outfitted with GPS and cameras, so if we have to investigate a complaint, all of that information will help.
What is the current penalty in place if a driver allows students off at the wrong stop or onto the wrong bus?
So any unauthorized stops, which is what that would fall under, would be a $500 penalty.
Parents sometimes need to switch a child those routes or stops due to a family emergency or other need. So what's the process for making this change if a child in the household has such a situation?
On the public school side, you'd come in and you'd fill out a form, and that'll basically be a change of address or a babysitter form if you needed to go that route. And that can take up to a week. We try to do it as fast as we can. We have to try to also make sure that the vendors can adjust their routes before we just change everything up. So that's why it may take a little bit longer than the next day. We try to do things as fast as possible.
The district now mandates extra phone access for September during the start of the year from the vendors. Where do parents find their call-in number for their school route and driver?
So your best bet is to call the Board of Education. That phone number is 732-364-2400.
How are you finding this expanded focus on safety compliance being accepted by the providers?
I don't think that anybody in this part of the process, between the Board of Education to the Transportation Department to the vendor, nobody wants any unsafe practices. There's so much on the line. The bus drivers want their job. They want the kids to be safe. The owners don't want any insurance claims or anything like that. And we also want our kids safe day in and day out.
What are some of the issues that are not your area of focus? What should people not be coming to you for?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to discourage anybody from reaching out to us. Everyone should, even if they feel like it's not significant, reach out and we'll try to help you feel better about the situation in any way that we can. But there are certain things like a bus stop that is within the parameters that you may not like or may be different from the year before. Those types of situations are just out of the control. We try to route the buses as best as possible to get the kids on a normal basis and at a safe time.
In the past, there have been instances where kids have been found on the bus after a route was completed or some other type of mix-up like that. How is this matter being addressed?
So from the state, if that happens to a bus, the bus driver gets a 6 month suspension on their CDL. If that happens for a second time, it's an indefinite suspension of the CDL. They'll never get their CDL back.
What is the LST hotline number?
Issues and how the district is recording.